about all things health and wellness that we love to talk about, but also we want to know things that you want to hear as well. So we would like to hear from you at sisters
at
balancedessentialwellness.com.
And that is balanced with a D.
Very good. So this is our first podcast, you guys, and we want to say thank you for joining us. We want to make sure that we share something with you that's very valuable to you.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about 5 top health hacks
for press and reset. Right. And why are we talking about press and reset? So in this health and wellness journey, we've discovered there are some things that help you become healthier,
yes,
and feel better. That's a noise.
Look good and feel good.
And so we'd like to share those things with you today, or some of those things.
Yes.
Is that a cut?
Cut.
What is it?
Ice maker.
Oh. Phew, that was tough.
We can't repeat it either.
My head is hurting already. I'm smiling and... You want us to begin again or just pick up? So the thing about it is life has challenges. It's designed to, right? And so we want to help you acquire tools to put in your toolbox to help manage those life challenges just a little bit easier. So I've come up with this analogy to kind of help people understand the tools of health and wellness, because we get asked, like, does it take all that? Do you have to have all those things to get healthy? And the short answer is no, you don't. But the more tools you have, then it just makes it a little bit easier. So I've come up with this.
No, what I was going to say, see, she will laugh through this. I just wanted to say, when people think of health and wellness, everybody thinks that it might be hard. And Carol's going to show you some ways to incorporate health and wellness that is not so hard. I thought that was good to throw in there, because they'll be running. Health and wellness? We're not doing no health and wellness. But anyway, go on.
Okay. Okay, let's think about it for a second. If you were hungry and you wanted to eat, right, and your main goal was just to get something to eat, and the food that is being served is soup, right? So if I just dump the soup on the table, would you be able to eat it?
No, I'd probably be
right,
but get it up. It would be difficult.
It would be difficult, right? Mm-hmm. But you could get some of the soup in.
Yes.
But if I gave you the tool of a bowl, would that make the soup eating the soup easier if it was in a bowl?
Yes, it would gather everything up.
And then if I added a spoon,
well, I would be in etiquette and eating well.
And then a napkin. So the more tools that we add, then it just makes it easier then for you to eat that soup. And that's the same thing in health and wellness. We like to use tools that we stack one on top of the other that make health and wellness a little bit easier, so that it does become second nature. And then in that same analogy, we talked about eating the soup, right? But once you take care of the tools and actually making that easier, then you can actually concentrate on what you're putting in the soup. And then it becomes about the taste and making that experience better. And that's kind of like, I think, what we like to do with health and wellness. We like to make it easier, and then we like to add things with it to make it actually an enjoyable experience. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree. Would you say that you come in a flat mess and then you get it all together, health, and then you add a few tools and it starts tasting better, feeling better, and you're off and going?
Definitely. That is exactly how I feel. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I used to be a teacher, so I like to use a lot of metaphors and analogies. But even like with brushing your teeth, right? Everyone brushes their teeth, I hope. But at some point when you were learning, somebody had to help you with that, right? Probably the first several times you did it. And then eventually it became just second nature to you. And learning new life skills is somewhat the same way. Initially, it may be difficult. You need some support, and that's what Carla and I do. We support people on their health and wellness journey. And we support you in a way till it just basically becomes second nature for you. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree.
All right.
Sister, unless she hits me with that ruler that she used to be that teacher with, but we'll get to that later.
That's a terrible thing. I never hit any students with.
Well, when I was little, I used to get hit.
We used to get hit, but I never hit anyone when I was a teacher. Let's just make sure we had that
I
part.
feel that way sometimes. Hit me, but okay.
Oh,
we digress.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so each time Carla and I get together, we love to share life hacks from the beginner health, or for the person who's just beginning their health and wellness journey, all the way to the more advanced, right? And sometimes people have frequently asked questions, and sometimes they have what we call fearfully asked questions. Yes. So we're gonna be covering both of those on our shows. We want to make sure we answer your questions. So again, if you didn't get that before, that's sisters at Balanced Essential Wellness for your questions. You can email us there. And so we're going to start with one of our most fearfully asked questions. And this question, actually, if you go to the internet right now, it's the number one asked question. And so we want to share some hacks around answering that question. And the number one asked question is, what can I do about anxious feelings or anxiety? That's the number one question that people are asking. And so what we hope to do in this show is just give some suggestions on how to address that. There's this amazing statistic that we love, and that statistic says that if you just do 1%, one thing to improve your health over a time, then it can actually add about 165 days to your life. And so what that means for us is we're going to be talking about so many things, you guys, that's going to help you with your health and wellness. If you just decide to follow 2 of those consistently, just 2 out of the thousands, hundreds that we're going to mention, you can almost add a year and a half to your life expectancy. Yeah. So that's how serious this health and wellness thing is for us, right?
Right. So even though we joke around, laugh, because health can be fun, it's very serious. Who wouldn't like to have extra years added onto their life? And I say years because as you get healthier, you're adding more and more, and we're going to teach you how to stack that so it's just seamless and hopefully easy. Not everything's easy, but we at least you'll know the tools.
Right. So let's get started with the tools. So would you say when you talk about health and wellness and even about anxious feelings, if you're talking about getting healthier, most people automatically go to 2 things. What would you say those 2 things are that people think about when they think about getting healthier?
Healthier?
Yeah, the 2 things that people mostly think about.
They think about food, and that is nasty.
Yes, what they think about eating healthier food, and they might not like it, and they also think about doing more what?
Exercise.
More exercise. So that's commonly what we hear the most. And when it comes to health and wellness, and even getting some solutions for those anxious feelings, it's not really those are not the 2 most important things. And shockingly, this is going to be our hack number 1. The number 1 hack to feeling better, to releasing those anxious feelings, is to incorporate more love into your life. Yes, folks, love.
And
So,
So explain that love.
So easy hack, love more. And you want to create more opportunities for love. And so when we come from the perception of what does it mean to love, we're talking about first accepting something that might sound a little revolutionary to some people, but that is accepting that you were created from and for love. And you have to nurture that spiritual connection. Yes. That loving spiritual connection. And I don't want people to get it mistaken. This is not about religion, right? I believe religion is talking about other people's experiences with spirituality. Those are other people's stories. So when we talk about spirituality and when we're talking about self-love and love of others, we're talking about your own relationship with your creator, and whatever however you choose to describe that creator, we call the creator God, or refer to the creator as God. But source, all that is, the loving source, whatever makes it more comfortable for you. But we feel like that's the number one thing to starting your health and wellness journey, to healing, to happiness, to health, is cultivating spaces for love to occur more.
Yeah. And if you think about when you love and you coming from a loving place, how happy you are and how much more you smile. So if you're stressed with the anxious feelings and you're not feeling love and you're not feeling supported, then it's harder to get to feel better. So that's why love is very important.
I would agree. And so I think too, sister, you have to think about, okay, what's the standard here? So some questions that you can ask yourself. And when we're talking about forming those loving relationships, we're not just talking about romantic relationships, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about family relationships. And
right. I was going to say, you know, everybody say, I can't have love. Well, I don't have a partner to love. I can't do that. We're also talking about loving yourself, giving yourself grace. So it's just exuding love, and all the word encompasses. It's just not just one thing.
Yes, and so you have to ask yourself, do I feel valued from this person or this experience? Do I feel respected? Do I feel uplifted? And these relationships, these are not just in your personal life, but in your professional life, with family members, romantic partners, platonic relationships, your community. Yes. And so that's what we like to bring is community, right? So when it comes to getting health and getting more healthy and getting healing and becoming well, then community is a big part of that. And so we say that would be hack one.
Hack is love. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, and so that brings us to the second hack that we want to share with you that's often taken for granted, and that is to relax more. I mean, people hear that all the time, you need to relax, but really when we say relax, we mean you got to calm your nervous system, because chronic stress, we feel, is at the root of a lot of dis-ease in the body that leads to disease. So
you're saying relax and I'm all anxious. What hack can you say? I know you're saying relax, and that's number 2. But
actually, it's not, I made a mistake, but yeah.
Okay.
You're right, you called it.
No, you can just tell me.
Schmooze over that, but yeah, it is. It's actually breath, but yeah.
Because, and that's it. I think you said it perfectly. So the second hack is to relaxing is breath. And it's the way we breathe. And Carol does it better than me, but okay, not many things, people, not many things, but she does that breath.
What you saying? I do the breath work?
breath work better than I do. I feel. So let's tell them, let's tell them, because this is free and it's something you can do at any time that you can control.
So this is, I would say, right up there next to love. That breath work is the next hack. I always almost want to put it at number 1, but no, love is number 1. But breath work, and I thank you for that compliment. But one place that I learned breath work is I used to sing in the chorus when I was in elementary school, middle school, and high school. And so singing in the chorus, one thing that they taught us is how to breathe. And so when you're breathing, you want to think of it as in you're pouring water into a cup. And when you pour water into a cup, there I go with those analogies again, it fills from the bottom up. And so when you're breathing in, you want to breathe in with your nose. That's also a breath hack. The nose is meant for breathing. The mouth is meant for talking and eating. We really shouldn't be using our mouth for our primary breath work. So you want to breathe in through your nose. And one simple breath work technique is 4 counts. You're going to breathe in for 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, hold it at the bottom of the 4, and then you repeat. And this is one of the number one ways to release anxious feelings, is to take over the job of breathing for the body. So y'all want to try it with us just to see how it goes? Okay, so this is how it works. You want to put your hand over your stomach so that you can feel your stomach expand. And you want to breathe in with your nose, and you want to kind of picture that air going down into the bottom of your stomach and filling up at the bottom and then up. Another quick technique, if you feel your shoulders rising, then you're not breathing from the bottom where your diaphragm is. So we're going to try this, right? In for 4. I'm going to count, you breathe in, and I'm going to tell you when to hold, okay? So you're going to do it. Ready? Breathe in. Inhale, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4. And that would be considered 1 round.
So Carol actually knows, okay, I grew up, we were holding our stomach in because a flat belly was in. And so when I first started breathing, it was actually kind of hard for me to do it. But it's very important for that stomach to go out and kind of make like a bowl. I'll say it's not that hard now. It's not that hard. But anyway, to make it into a bowl and bring, as Carol was saying, bring the breath all the way down. And then because I was always chronically tense, I used to always raise my shoulders. And so Carol told me, don't raise your shoulders. But even if you don't remember all of this, it's one of the things that we do teach in our program. And we go over many different types of breathing steps. What I want you to take away, is if you're anxious, if you're tense, if you just stop and breathe, even if it's is better than holding it in. And I normally just kind of hold it in. You can see some people are tense and they're going like this, but it's just to start breathing. So you can access breath work at any time and learn more techniques that we're more than happy to teach you.
I think what you said is very important, the accessibility of it. And how important is breath work, right? So our favorite book is called Breath by James Nestor. I was like, is it breath or is it breathe? Is it breath or breathe?
Well, let's
just
it's
by James Nestor.
I think it's
and
breathe,
what I love about this book is not only its in-depth description of breath work, but it really talks about the history of breath work and how breath work was talked about historically in religious texts, and some of the earliest writings that there are talks about breath work. Breath work is talked about in religious texts, historically and culturally across many cultures. One of the my favorite stories in the book that James Nestor shares is that in some Native American tribes, it was a person's job or responsibility to stand over the baby and watch the baby while they slept, and to make sure that the baby's mouth stayed closed so that they only used their nose for breathing. And so this tribe, they had very stoic expressions because they rarely smiled or opened their mouth, but they didn't have any dental problems. They were very strong. They didn't have any immunity problems. They were very healthy people. And unfortunately, they did not start to have problems until they had visitors who started observing what they were doing to be so healthy. But that's just one of the very interesting stories about breath work, because it's believed in a lot of cultures that when the breath leaves the body, that we actually lose some of our life force.
Yeah. And I would like to say one sub hack, that if you don't read a lot and you're like, Carol, I can't read, I'm too anxious to read, Carol has another hack for you, and that is to listen to it
on tape, on Audible. We live in Atlanta, and that Atlanta traffic can be rough. So one way we love to get through the traffic and just make use of that downtime is to listen to some books on tape. And this one really lends itself well to listening to it, maybe a little bit too well, because it can be relaxing.
Carol slept on the book. Okay, we gotta stop. We gotta tell the story. Carol, I said, Carol, you didn't finish the book, and she was like, how you know? And then we go a little few more weeks. I said, Carol, you didn't finish the book. She was like, how you know? I said, that was because right at the end of the tape, listening to it on Audible, it gives another breathing technique. So I knew she didn't get there because she wasn't talking about it. But it's very relaxing, so you can listen to it. And if you're asleep like halfway through, that is okay.
That's up for debate.
Why?
Because
we
have a controversy about what's the most ideal breathing technique. We won't go into it on this episode, but Carla says it's one thing. I say it's another thing. We both say go read the book, because he tells you what the most ideal breath technique is in there, although Carla says it's not the one that I say.
No, well, he does say it. I love it. See,
it's
this is our balanced part.
5.5 breaths in and 5.5 breaths out. Okay, I said it, but Carla doesn't believe it. Cut that part out.
No, don't cut it out. Don't cut it out. We'll leave that in. I think our biggest thing that we bring to our audience is balanced. We try to give, one thing is not good for everybody, and it's one of our core things that we believe in, is that each person is an individual, and we believe in bio-individuality. So what's good for me may not be good for Carol. Although
and what's good for you right now may not be good for you later. And so just like in bio-individuality, that's a huge word, but it's a fancy word to just describe what we just said. What works for somebody else might be poison to another person, and what worked for you at one point in your life may not work for you at another point in your life. And I think this is illustrated to us so beautifully in that we each have a very distinct fingerprint. So that tells us, if our Creator made us so distinct with an individualized fingerprint, then there has to be other individuality in the body. And so that's a huge part of what we do is offer custom solutions. So we really listen to you and get an idea of what works for you and work with what you're already doing to help you on your health and wellness journey.
Absolutely. So we've given them love and we've given them breath.
And so the third hack then for common anxious feelings and also for healing, for happiness, for health, is to get outside in nature.
You mean I got to go outside too?
You got to go outside too.
We got to go outside. Okay.
So
let's dig into it.
So in the news, because I want to be able to bring some current events into here, right? So in the news, I was looking at what they were saying about anxiety and depression, right? And I saw this study, and the placebo, that's when they give you the fake drug. Like they don't tell you it's not the real drug, but they give you the drug. You don't know, and then they measure about how well or not well you feel from taking that placebo. So 20 to 40% people experience improvements with the placebo. So what does that tell me? That the mind is so powerful because they felt like they were getting something that helped them, then it helped. And then they said it was a 40 to 60% medication efficiency. So 40 to 60% of the people felt better with the medication. And that does seem like a lot, but when you consider 40% of the people felt better without it and 40% of the people felt better with it, then it really starts to bring to mind, and we're not suggesting in any way that anybody not take their medication. Let me be clear. We're not saying that at all.
No.
But what we are saying is whether you're taking medication or not, if you get out in nature, because the sunshine and the ground are natural medicine, that it will improve your mood. So there are studies, and they're all over the internet, that show that being out in the sunshine for about 10 minutes at a time, and with your feet on the ground, either on the soil or on the sand in a body of water. You don't want to be on asphalt. You don't want to have on shoes, especially rubber sole shoes.
I was going to say, because we walk around all the time, but we're not grounded. And the reason we're not grounded is because our actual feet, flesh on the ground, doesn't hit the ground. So one of the stories that we like to tell is like the beach. Everybody says, oh, I went to the beach and I was so happy. And they don't realize it's because they're out walking on the sand, and it's the ocean. And I'll get technical on you in a minute to tell you about the negative ions and everything else I want to tell you about. But anyway, your feet on the ground and in the ocean really grounds you, and it makes you feel better. So, and that's accessible. Everybody can go outside, and not everybody may want to put their feet on the ground, and they do have grounding mats. We talk about that in our program. But just getting out in nature, relaxing, breathing,
and
sunshine.
Even if you can get out there for just a few minutes, the change in temperature actually shows to calm anxious feelings. And so even if you can't get outside, if you can alter your body temperature in some way by going into a cool room, or even literally opening the freezer and sticking your head in the freezer for a few minutes just to feel the difference of the temperature, that calms anxious feelings. But when I think about my third grade teacher and her saying energy comes from the sun, and so if you have low energy, your number one spot to go should be to the sun. I mean, we see what the sun is able to do for the plants, right? So most of us live a lifestyle where we rarely get sunlight. A lot of us go to work in the morning before the sun is out. By the time we get home, the sun is already down. We spend a lot of time inside. So sunlight is a very underrated, underestimated remedy. And then when we think about the ground, we know that in order for electricity to be used in our houses, it has to be grounded, right? Grounded. And because we're electrical beings, I mean, let your heart stop. What do they say? Clear before they get the paddles, because we are electrical beings. Yeah. So in order to feel grounded, because anxious energy is just ungrounded energy. Anxious feelings are just like worrying, it's frantic, it's uncomfortable. So you have to ground that energy. And just by literally placing your feet on the soil, you begin to ground your energy. You can look on YouTube. There's a video called Earthing that's phenomenal for sharing some of this information. They show the studies. They show where the baby was crying, and when the mother went outside and stood on the ground, that the baby actually calmed down. Mm-hmm. So it's some great information out there about getting out in nature.
Yeah, and out in nature, you're also, say you're not at the beach, but if you're in the forest, there's forest bathing.
Yes.
That gives you a lot of natural, I want to call them oils, things that you're smelling in, and it's calming your body. So it's really important to get grounded. I mean, we laugh and we talk about it, and it's free and accessible, but I I would just say there are people and there are tribes that when they're outside, one of the reasons they're doing so well is because their feet are on the ground. And our plastic soles on our shoes,
plastic and rubber,
it took us away from that. So we still need to get grounded. And if you don't believe me, in the wintertime, when you're walking around and you're going like this and you go, I wish we could do that right now. I really wish I could go
shock me.
Shock her.
Hey, we might be able to try it.
No. Okay. On with the show. All right, Carol.
Yep. Exactly. I agree.
Okay.
And so we're talking about how to mitigate, those anxious feelings. So we're talking about having more love, making sure you relax by taking the breath work, getting out in nature. And so that leads us to hack number 4. And it's, again, something easy, something accessible, but something that a lot of people struggle with, and that's getting enough sleep at night.
Enough sleep. If I'm anxious, it's been hard for me to sleep.
And it's that cycle, right? So you get anxious, being anxious affects your sleep, not getting enough sleep and being sleep deprived actually adds to those anxious feelings. So you definitely want to do some nighttime routines. And I think for the parents out there, our kids are grown now, but I didn't do that well with nighttime routines with my kids, and so that even makes it difficult. But I admire the parents that were able to get their kids on a nighttime routine. But that's a lot of what we need as adults. We need a nighttime routine.
And we talk about a lot of that in our program, because sometimes it takes more than one hack or sub-hack in this case to dial in that sleep. But there's many different things you can do, and because we're all individual, it might take a lot of different things. And so what comes to mind is like cutting off our social media. So do you want to tell them about the 3, 2, 1?
Yeah, I will. Okay. So a good nighttime routine hack is 3, 2, 1. 3 hours before bed, you want to cut off your food and alcohol if you consume alcohol in the evening. Number 2, you want to cut off all your liquids, all your water. And then 1 hour before bed, you want to cut off your electronic devices or anything that emits a blue light, like your telephone, even your cell phone, your television or a tablet, because that blue light actually goes into the prefrontal cortex and activates the light that we have in our
pineal
gland, and that's what keeps the mind going. So even if you go to sleep, you may actually not get into that deep sleep where healing and restoration occurs.
Right.
And then as soon as you wake up, the anxious feelings are often right there waiting for you. So like Carla said, that is something that we address with our clients, is how to get them to have help them with a better sleep routine. And again, looking at what you do individually and looking at easy ways we can hack into your better sleep routine, because we don't want to change everything at once.
Right. And then we don't want to give you a bunch of drugs. We want to just do things you can naturally do, or it could just even do with your bath and having something relaxing. Yes. In your bath, or just taking a bath, you're warm, and then lowering the temperature in your room so it's colder.
Yes.
So you take that warm bath, you hit those cool crisp sheets. All those are clues in the brain. It's time to get ready for bed.
And even brushing your teeth at night is sends a signal to the body that no more food is coming in. And so it actually allows that part of the brain to settle in. So if you established a nighttime routine where you're basically brushing your teeth every night at the same time and you're not eating anything after that, it actually eventually your body will learn a signal that it's time to start the digestion process of what's already in there, because they know, your body knows it's nothing else coming in.
Right.
So I think that just means what our mission is give the body, given the right opportunity to heal, is remarkable at healing itself.
Right. And you don't have to worry about getting it right. That's why we teach you how to, or guide you into looking at what's best for your body. Because some people, when they take that shower at night, they heat up it wakes up and you're just up. And I learned that about myself. So I said, you know what? Sometimes it's better for me to take my shower in the morning. And I switch it up. But whereas some people calm down, it really lifts me up. So, yeah.
And you mentioned something very important. And you said we don't want people to have to take something to help them go to sleep, because it's shown that a lot of the sleep aids, again, they may make you go to sleep, but that does not mean that your mind settles to the point that it heals. And we don't want anybody to believe that we're anti-medicine or anti-Western medicine or anti-physician or anything like that. In fact, what our services do is actually adds another layer to the relationship that you have with your physician, because whereas your physician may look at the symptoms that you have, because a lot of us go to the doctor, right, when we have a problem, and that doctor has a very limited time that they work with us, and sometimes they're just looking at that symptom and they don't have the time to get to the root cause of that. And what we found is that sometimes, our body gives us signals, just like the check engine light on your car lets you know you need to look at something under the hood. So a headache is like a check engine light, right? A stomach ache that you have is a check engine light. Anxiety is a check engine light. And we will often rush, to handle the things with our car. And it's not like we would go to a mechanic and expect the mechanic to just put something over the check engine light so we can't see it and say, oh, okay, you're straight, you can leave, I've fixed that check engine light problem. But yet and still we take this Band-Aid approach to healing really real wounds. And we're just saying, we're no longer going to take that approach. We are going to disrupt that approach and actually bring a more holistic approach to healing and health and happiness, where we look at the root cause, right? We're looking at the total body. We're looking at your lifestyle. We're looking at what you believe. We're looking at what you're thinking about. We're looking at what you're feeling, and then what actions you're taking. And so that's what that holistic piece is about. We look at you from a holistic place and then look at what symptoms you're having. And that's also about listening to your body and knowing what you need and how to get it.
Absolutely, because if you're hiding it, you're only burying those symptoms, and it stays. The body knows. The body knows. You can't hide from yourself. So we're no longer covering up symptoms.
And we talked about what a loving relationship was earlier, right? We said in a loving relationship, you want to feel loved, you want to feel heard, you want to feel respected, you want to feel uplifted. You should have a loving relationship with your physician, with your primary care physician. If you don't feel like you're being heard, if you don't feel like you're being helped and you're being understood, then we're encouraging you to find someone else, because we're constantly being told, right? Before making any lifestyle choices, please consult with your primary care physician. We're required to say that. Anytime you see anything health and wellness, they're required to say that. And yes, you should consult with your primary care physician, but that messaging sends a message that your primary care physician knows more about you than you do. And so that's what we want to disrupt, is that you know more about you and your body than someone that you see maybe yearly or twice a year, or in some cases every 3 years, for a few minutes at a time. Right. So that's why we are so passionate about this health and wellness journey, and making sure that you have those tools in your toolbox, so that when life challenges come, you have something to resort to help you manage that process even better.
And it's not about us telling you exactly what to do, but it's about us guiding you through that process, so you start to recognize the clues and say, okay, well, this is best for me. So that's it.
And how much
All right.
So that leads us to our fifth hack that we would like to share with you tonight. And this is one of the health and wellness products that we share, and it's a big part of our program, our business, and what we do. And it's the third thing that we want to, I guess it's the fifth hack. But in addition to breathing and getting out in nature, something that's really effective at helping you to manage those anxious feelings are essential oils. And so when it comes to essential oils, we're not balanced essential wellness for no reason. Essential oils was literally the product that was like the oil on my squeaky wheel. If you haven't heard our stories, I say that Carla was the sister, the family member that was all into health and wellness. You know, the one you run from on holidays because you don't want them to see what you're eating. Just kidding. But Carla was on her health and wellness path for a while. And I say that I was riding the Hot Mess Express as a full-time passenger, and my sister saved me. Oh. And it was her love that saved me. And it was a very soft love that that provided me that space for healing. And that's what we like to bring to our clients now. But as soon into beginning my health and wellness journey, Carla introduced me to essential oils. And essential oils was literally the oil that got my wheel moving. And once I started using the essential oils to support me in my physical health, I started learning about the benefits of the emotional health. And things really began to get better for me. I experienced a lot of improvements in my life, to the point that essential oils just have opened up just a whole new area in life. And so we're very passionate about sharing about essential oils and other health and wellness products. And we would like to invite you to our next virtual essential oil wellness class. You should be able to find that information at the bottom of the screen.
Yes. And it's important that we spend some time on it, because it's not just by chance we're saying essential oils, because it's not just any essential oil. We're saying old world technology of just the plant, the leaves, the roots, the bark, just the essence of the plants only. No added fillers.
Pure.
Just pure essential oils. And those oils in nature is what help heal other plants. It's what heals animals, and actually it allows our bodies to also heal itself. So we'll talk more about that.
Definitely. So what we'll be sharing is more about essential oils, what they are, how to safely use them, and we'll be sharing more about our personal stories and how the essential oils have helped us. So you want to make sure that you register for our virtual essential oil class so you can get that information. And that will be below.
And we don't want you to just rush out and get any until we can give you some background on what you should get, what type, where. And it's not a sale. It is really about you and helping guide you to the right
But we
product.
do want to sell you some.
We want to sell them some?
Yes, we do sell them.
We sell them.
Okay, just
but I
make
want
that
them
clear.
to hear the information.
Most definitely.
We would share this information anyway, but we want you to know, again, what you're doing and why you're doing it and why it's important. Because I could say, I'm gonna listen to them. I'll get the answer, and I'm gonna use these oils that I got over here from the dollar store.
Well, we'll make sure that you're educated, that you're making the best decisions, which ones to choose for purity and efficacy, so that they do the things that we know that they should do. Are you handing me?
No, I'm not handing you. Carol's wiggling under the table, and I'm going, girl, they can see your feet. Maybe not. Well, good thing that was cut out by a wonderful videographer, but I was stopping her from wiggling under the table.
So Thank you guys for joining us on our very first podcast. If you made it this far in the show, we have a very special gift for you. So please let us know what you think about us down in the comments. Make sure you share this video. Reach out to us at Sisters at Balanced Essential Wellness, and we have a very special gift for you.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everyone. And we like to end our presentations this way. Seriously, guys, we want you to know that you are loved. You are not alone, and it is our wish for you to
be well.
Be well. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.